This morning's topic is not a pleasant one, but our guest is. You'll meet her coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at family-owned and operated Ace Hardware on Kings Highway between 76th and 79th Avenues North in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on Mercy Hospice and Palliative Care, and we're visiting with its Director of Development, Carole Bowdre. Good morning,
Good
Carole.
morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for coming in early on a Thursday morning.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come in and talk about my organization that I'm so passionate about.
I know you are. You joined the last year?
Right, in June of 2006.
Is that right? Yes, but have been very interested in the care for others for many, many years.
Right, I have been involved with nonprofits for the past 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
So really, that is where my interest lies.
What about this Ace Hardware?
They have everything.
They really do.
They
It's
do.
amazing.
I love the chairs out front. They're neat.
They were kind enough to open it up a little early for us. They actually opened at 8 o'clock, but to let us in early to do some filming.
Right. They have everything you need.
They really do. I was kind of amazed walking through here, not having been in a hardware store in so long. Mercy Hospice and Palliative Care have been around for a good while.
Right. In fact, we celebrated our 25th anniversary last year.
Is that right?
And I'm sure you probably saw it in the news. Sister Connie, who had been with Mercy Hospice for 25 years, Sister Connie Fahey, retired. And we had a big celebration for her.
I remember.
And she was very influential, a real legacy for Mercy Hospice.
I remember some of those great full-page ads.
Right.
Fancy colors like the ones you're wearing.
Right,
the purple jumps out at everyone, kind of the Mardi Gras colors. They're very handsome, very handsome. And of course, I remember that layout about her. That sister, she'd been involved with the organization for 25
years. In fact, Mercy Hospice was started by the Franciscan Sisters of Mary.
Right.
And she was involved then, was with us for 25 years, and we had other sisters on board, and they, just within the past year, they have all retired.
Boy.
So, but they
big transition for Mercy Hospice. Wow.
Right.
Real quick about yourself, Carole. Are you originally from the area?
I am originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, boy.
But
Cumberland County.
County.
Yes. You still have family there?
I do. My sister still is there with her family, but I have lived in South Carolina longer than I did in North Carolina. So I really call South Carolina my home.
So you're Palmetto State.
I am definitely a sandlapper.
I like it. I like it. Good. And you've got family in the area?
I do. My daughter and son-in-law and 2 grandchildren live in Myrtle's Inlet.
Great, yes.
And
we had a guest on Tuesday who's had a home in Myrtle's Inlet for 53 years, Carole.
Wow.
Ann Powell.
Really?
Was with us just a couple days ago, who lives in Florence now, but is a Marion native and has had a home in Myrtle's Inlet since before Hurricane Hazel.
Well, when I was a child, my neighbor had a home in Myrtle's Inlet, and I used to come down in the summers with them.
Yeah.
And there was nothing. Very few. I mean, 3 or 4 houses in Myrtle's Inlet.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that area. Very nice
very
area.
Special.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've got a daughter who lives in Myrtle's Inlet now.
Myrtle's Inlet.
And grandchildren.
2 grandchildren.
And her husband.
And 2 other girls, but one's in Columbia in med school, and one's
great. You've got a daughter in med school. Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. She's looking at a lot of years ahead of her, too.
Yeah, she is. She's finished her undergraduate, and she's now in med school.
Right. So she started her 2nd year. She's an M2 at USC School of Medicine.
Yeah. And your other daughter is close by.
Right. She works at Creek Rats in Myrtle's Inlet.
Oh, great.
Another Myrtle's Inlet girl.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Right.
And any boys or just 3 girls?
Well, I have a grandson.
Yeah. So
first
you now have
first boy.
A male connection for you and your husband.
Right.
That is great.
We're real proud of him. He's all boy.
Well, I remember seeing your husband recently, and he talked to me about one of your daughters who was a skiing champion or something. She was out on the water all the time, which prompted y'all to have a home up near a lake or on a lake.
Right. That's why we moved. I had lived in Bennettsville at one time.
Right.
But we were in Florence and moved back to Bennettsville because she was skiing competitively.
Is that right?
She was on the ski team at Clemson University.
No, they have a ski team?
They do.
That's not something they had at Wake Forest.
Yeah. They did.
Not a ski
surprised.
team. Yeah.
They had a good football team last year.
Oh, yeah, last year.
Oh,
big
wow.
celebration.
I was really pulling for the Deeks.
Yeah, thank you.
But anyway, she was on the ski team, and we had a house at Santee and a house in Florence, and we were going back and forth so much to Santee that we were missing out on so much.
Right.
So we bought this home in Bennettsville on Lake Paul Wallace, and she could ski in the backyard.
Yeah,
so it worked. She did, and my husband can live anywhere within the state.
That's
so
right.
It worked out well.
Has she kept that competitively? Is she still doing that? Is that the daughter who's at Coastal? Or
no, this is the oldest one that's married.
Oh,
and she's a nurse. No, she'll probably have her youngsters on skis, but she's kind of giving it up at this point.
That is fascinating. Right. All the efforts that parents go to. It's kind of like, and we're going to talk about Mercy, and you think about all the efforts that you and all the folks within Mercy Hospice and Palliative Care and all the volunteers go to. But you think about what parents do to make a difference for their children, and you all actually moved from Florence up there to Marlboro County.
Right, my children were my life. I devoted my everything to them, and I'll be working for the next 20 years to get them out of school.
That's right.
They're depending on me, so hopefully my health will hold up and I can do it.
Yeah, Carole. Of course, when we think about Mercy, if a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family out of the house, what's the best phone number? And do you all have a website if a viewer wanted to call and learn more about
We are
Mercy?
very proud of our website. We were written up in the National Hospice and Palliative Care Association newsletter designating, if you want to see a good website, to go to mercyhospice.org. And we were very proud of that, to be here in Horry County and to get national recognition for our website. It's Mercy Hospice, www.mercyhospice.org.
Yes, and there is tremendous information on there. I was on there early this morning printing stuff out, and a lot of great frequently asked questions to help prep for the interview. A lot of great questions right there on site.
And we also have a connecting website that answers all kind of medical questions, and it's fantastic.
I didn't even see that. The site's so dang big.
It is. It's so big, and you'll have to check that out again. But we want everyone to go to visit our website because we want to. In the very near future, we're going to be asking about email addresses for our newsletter. We're going to start trying to send our newsletter out via email.
Okay. For viewers who may not use the internet much or may not have familiarity with going online, is there a phone number for someone to call and learn more, or if they have some frequently asked questions, for someone to call and ask questions?
Right. 347-5500.
Okay.
347-5500.
843-347-5500.
Right.
Folks are there, even if someone's not there right now at 7:15, they could leave a message.
They'll get an answering service. We are available 24/7.
Great.
That's part of hospice services.
Okay.
Even when the offices are closed, we have someone on call and answering service, so someone could help them at any time of day or night.
Carole, you're now the Director of Development, so you're obviously out and about all over the place.
Right, out in the community. I'm in charge of fundraising. I'm in charge of tracking all the donors, acknowledging all the donors, writing all the grants, and we are a non-profit hospice. We have a lot of competition now with hospices that are for-profit.
Yes, you do. All over our viewing area. A lot of them.
There are like 20 other hospices in Horry only. But we're the only non-profit in Horry. Now, Tidelands is a non-profit in Georgetown County.
Right.
And they have an inpatient facility there. But I'm in charge of fundraising, and this is something we have to do, being a non-profit.
Sure.
And we are so appreciative of our supporters and donors because we do have indigent patients, and we have community programs that are not paid for by insurance or Medicare.
Yes.
And we haven't really talked about this, but hospice services are paid by Medicare and Medicaid in most states. It depends on the state. like 23 out of the 50 states.
Is that right?
Have Medicaid service for hospice. Most private insurances will pick up the hospice tab.
Great.
So, hospice originated in London, England in 1968.
I was about to ask,
right.
Of course, where that phrase, the name came from.
Right, from London, England in 1968. It started in America in 1970, hospice services. When our great-grandparents came along, they were born and died at home.
Right.
And then when the modern hospitals came along, we kind of got out of that tradition, and a lot of people went to the hospitals to die. But surveys have shown that 80% of Americans today prefer to die surrounded by friends and loved ones.
In their own home.
Mm-hmm. And if that's not available and they don't have a caretaker, we do go into the nursing homes now, and this is also taken care of by Medicare and Medicaid.
That's very important.
Right.
I bet a lot of viewers didn't know that. They probably wouldn't call because they think it's too expensive. They wouldn't be able to afford that to be able to stay home.
Right. Greg, I'm amazed at the number of people today that are not familiar with hospice services.
Yeah. And you're talking about both for the nonprofit, the one nonprofit here in Ori, as well as the 20 for-profit companies, and it's the same for all of y'all. The government essentially will pick up, at least here in South Carolina, those costs.
And it's dying is part of life, and it's a lot of times people don't want to talk about it or think about it. And that's why we try to educate the community and the public about advanced directives, end-of-life issues, because you need to think about these issues when you're healthy.
What are some of the ways you're able to do that, Carole, that you're able to get people to begin thinking about the end of their life or about advanced directives? What are some of the ways that you can do that softly?
We have community educators, and I, for one, will go out into the community and speak at organizations or at churches. We have partnered with a number of churches to have grief support groups and to have educational programs. But it's so important for all, I don't care what age you are, to have a living will or even a medical power of attorney, because anyone could be in an accident and not have their faculties tomorrow. So it needs to be planned. It's very, very, I know it's something we don't want to think about. We don't want to think about dying or anything. But it's part of life. And hospice services are absolutely fantastic. They not only help the patient, they help the family as well. When a person is referred for hospice services, Greg, you have to be diagnosed with 6 months or less to live.
Is that
That's
right?
The
That's
criteria.
the cutoff. Yes. You have to be diagnosed with 6 months or less to live for the government to step in and to cover the cost of.
Of course, we don't kick them out if they lived a month later.
I'm sure that's a frequently asked question. If they've been diagnosed for 5 months to live, for instance, or right at 6 months, they end up living 7 or more, or around that.
And that's something no one knows. The physicians don't know that. They're just predicting that. But if you're diagnosed with 6 months or less to live, you could qualify for hospice services. And as I said, Medicare, Medicaid, and most private insurances pick up the full tab, medication, everything, equipment, everything. But once a person is signs up and is qualified for hospice care, they are assigned a team. And we work as a team approach. And each patient will have a RN, a CNA, a certified nursing assistant, a volunteer, a social worker, and a chaplain.